This is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. In the last few days we've had a lot of drug importation stories. Don't forget to follow on Instagram and Telegram to stay up to date. This latest story is about an Albanian gang mainly that was caught trying to import 2.7 tons of cocaine into the country via importations of bananas. The video footage shows the moment that police officers stormed the unit where there was unloading the drugs, but the gang didn't realise the police had already found the drugs and removed them earlier on.
Get on the floor! That'll be what he was going in.
This week, 5 members of the organised crime group that tried to smuggle the £210 million worth of cocaine into the UK have been jailed. Petko Hutev, 39 years old, from Bulgaria, Georgi Diko from Italy, 33 years old, and Albanian nationals Bruno Kusi, Olsi Albija and Eric Musi were investigated by the Organised Crime Partnership and a joint National Crime Agency and Metropolitan Police investigation. It was identified they were planning to import this amount of cocaine, and they were arrested by the police, supported by MPS officers at an industrial estate in Tottenham, North London, in February 2021, after they received 41 pallets of bananas into which cocaine had been hidden. The drugs had stamps on them that corresponded with the particular organised crime group they were going to sell them to on the streets of London and the wider UK. Border Force officers in Portsmouth International Port found the cocaine on a cargo ship from Turbo in Colombia, and it was concealed within a legitimate consignment of bananas. The police removed the cocaine and followed the consignment of bananas until it reached its final destination, that was Agro Foods Limited on the Crispin Industrial Estate in Tottenham. The seizure is believed to be one of the largest ever in the UK, and the drugs would have had an estimated value of £210 million had they reached the streets. The investigators identified that Hutev had taken over as the director of the food company in December of 2020. Although it was previously a legitimate company, he acquired it solely as a front for criminality. Musi was one of the principal organisers for the drugs importation, and he was observed meeting Zutev, Kuchi and Diko at Agro Foods and arranged the delivery and installation of equipment to support the pretense that it was a legitimate enterprise. Investigation into the mobile devices used by the group showed that Musi controlled the importation and ongoing supply of drugs, and it was a very significant impact on the UK. Zutev, Kuchi and Diko accepted the consignment, and armed police using a circular saw entered the lock-up premises used during the raid, and it resulted in their arrest. Empty banana boxes were strewn all over the floor of the unit. This was a result of their desperate attempts to try to find the drugs that had been moved by the police. The men constructed dozens of cardboard boxes, which was intended to pack the drugs in, and the police found 9 empty suitcases that were going to be used to fill them up with the cash that was generated from the drug sales. They also found a converted firearm with 5 rounds of ammunition, and it was hidden in the ceiling of the building they raided, and numerous mobile devices were concealed around the premises. One of the suspects, Abija, was the intended lookout and the driver for the drugs, and he was arrested near Agro Foods as he waited inside a hire van. Abija was employed by Musi, who acted as a courier supplying the drugs across the UK. Following the arrest, the police searched a flat related to Diko, Abija and Musi, and during the raid they found 37 kilos of cocaine and ammunition for the firearm. Police arrested Abija at an address in central London in October 2023, and Musi was arrested at an address in Hornchurch, East London, the following month. John Coles, the head of the operation for the NCA, said, "The sentences handed down to these men is a culmination of a thorough investigation by the NCA and Metropolitan Police. By intercepting this massive haul of cocaine, the largest of its kind in the UK, we was able to stop it affecting and reaching the communities and protected the public from the effects of Class A drugs." So this is one of several big seizures in recent times. And of course, it takes a while for them to go through court and to get convicted, but it will happen, and this is just another example. Very similar to this other story, where an organised crime group who used corrupt port workers to smuggle in £90 million worth of cocaine. Members of the group imported 1.2 tonnes into the UK with the help of a corrupt security guard who worked at the port. They have been jailed for a total of 74 years, following a National Crime Agency-led investigation. The operation took place at Sheerness port in Kent in December 2021 and saw more than 100 police swoop on the gang as they tried to recover the drugs from a container. The drugs had an estimated street value of £90 million and had arrived on a vessel from Costa Rica. It was hidden, again similar to the other story, in a shipment of bananas. The shipment was arranged by gang leaders Danny Laird from Buntingford and Joel McCaughey, 34 years old, from Manchester. They were unaware they had been a subject of a 2-month intelligence surveillance operation by the NCA, whose officers has watched every single meeting that took place at pubs, cafes and service stations as they organised the importation and the recovery of the drugs. In late November 2021, McCaughey flew to Costa Rica to oversee the loading of the drugs into a container. Text messages later found on his phone by the NCA showed that he stood to make £400,000 from the venture. McCaughey arrived back in the UK to lead 4 other members of the group as they attempted to recover the drugs. This included Darren Lowry, 53 years old, of no fixed abode. He had also trained Michael Turner, Kyle Davidson and Ian Woodward, all from Hertfordshire, to use the forklift they had purchased. In the early hours of the 20th of December 2021, the gang arrived at the port in 2 vans and they were waved through by the corrupt security guard named Sam Alfick. He was from Sheerness and he was 30 years old. As they used the forklift to access the container that contained the drugs, armed officers from Kent Police and the NCA made arrests. A short time later, Laird, who was electronically tagged for other unrelated offences, was arrested at his home in Buntingford, and 6 men were charged with conspiracy to import Class A drugs, and they all pled guilty, while Alfick pled guilty to participating in the events of an organised crime group. On the 29th of November 2024 at Maidstone Crown Court, Turner was jailed for 11 years, Lowry jailed for 12 years and 4 months, Davidson got 10 years, Woodward got 11 years and 3 months, and Laird got 14 years, and McCaughey got 13 years and 4 months. Alfick was sentenced to 2 years. The operations manager Paul Orchard said the NCA has stopped a significant amount of drugs from reaching the UK and completely dismantled this organised crime group. They were using a corrupt port worker to circumvent border controls. Sam Alfick was recruited specifically for his knowledge of Sheerness Port and the security systems. And this goes to show how many different people can be involved in these sorts of operations and how risky it is, but how big the reward is if they put it off. So I really appreciate you joining me for these updates. I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Don't forget to follow on social media as well at Scarcity Studios. Peace.